Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and this episode is brought to you by our Patreon. If you enjoy the show and want to support, the link is in the description. But after last night's devastating loss to Kansas City, the Bills decided they were going to be the bigger people and not turn off the hot water in the Chiefs' locker room. Is not something I can say today, because turns out Bills aren't this super nice organization everybody thought. Hey, let's give to your charity organization. Hey, let's do the right thing for everybody organization. They turned off the hot water in the Chiefs locker room. And I just don't understand how that's allowed. One, like how there's just no rules to that. I'm kind of surprised people haven't done it earlier. Patrick, what do you make of this situation, and is Buffalo just sore losers?
Seems like it's kind of on par with the Bills fans in the latest era of them in this sport, Josh. It's them throwing snowballs on the field after the game, during the game. And some people will say, hey, that's the home field advantage. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe that's the Bills organization putting their home field advantage in, saying no hot water. Personally, if I was the Bills, I just would have won the game, and then you wouldn't have to worry about any of that.
Right. And is there a chance that maybe it's actually wasn't a spite thing, that they just don't have money in the budget to pay the water bill? Or
well, and you got to remember, Josh, that they're building that new stadium, so probably a lot of the funding is going in that direction.
Right.
So, they probably don't get the plumber out there quick enough to get that fixed, because he's probably over at the new stadium.
Is that new stadium going to have a dome or no, Pat?
No dome.
So that's an interesting thing, because at some point you're going to lose the support of the Bills Mafia doing the snow shoveling. And I'm not sure when that point is. But
it's not today, but we're probably going that way.
The Mafia can't be happy. They were out there shoveling for hours, days,
2 weeks.
Multiple times.
2 weeks. They've been shoveling for 2 weeks.
They've been shoveling. And they said in their brain, they're like, it's all going to be worth it. Am I getting paid by the Bills? No. Am I going to get any perks from the Bills? Probably not. But you know what I'm going to see? I'm going to see a championship, and I'm going to be able to say I did my part. They're not, they don't get any satisfaction now. They just shoveled snow for a team that has money to pay people to shovel snow just to see them lose. That, personally, that would sting a little bit to me.
Yeah, that one probably hurts a little bit. And, it's not like the Bills didn't have their opportunities to win, Josh.
Right, and we're going to get into that. So, a couple things. First, Stefon Diggs. We're going to call out multiple people who aren't getting called out enough today. First one, Stefon Diggs, getting called out here on the show. Stefon Diggs had the opportunity to make that 65-yard catch. Just came out of the sky right through his hand. I'm going to say, if he makes it, they have a better chance to win.
I agree, Josh.
And I just don't know. At some point, he hasn't really shown up in the past probably 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a rough stretch for Stefon. And, maybe he wants out of Buffalo. Maybe he'll get his wish. But there was one thing that he did to make sure that he was going to get out of Buffalo quicker, and he dropped that pass.
Right, because you don't drop that pass, you're probably still in Buffalo this week.
Yeah, you're probably still in Buffalo this morning preparing for another game. And instead, he's probably down on that flight to Cancun.
Yeah, do you think actually players go to Cancun these days, or do you think that they don't go just because of the stereotype?
Yeah, well, there's probably a stereotype. That I would imagine probably a lot of people making the audible, probably going to Cabo.
Right.
They're saying, hey, just make a little bit farther trip out west. We'll go to Cabo, about the same weather.
Okay, gotcha. Another person who should be on the hot seat, Josh Allen. Now, we're going to look at, I saw a stat this morning on Josh Allen's playoff victories, and I'll be honest with you, it wasn't an overly impressive lineup of quarterbacks that he's beaten.
Well, name them, Josh. Name them.
Well, I know that he beat Mason Rudolph.
That's one, right?
Lamar Jackson, but he got concussed after the third quarter. So
yeah, concuss Lamar Jackson, right?
we really don't know. I'm pulling up trying to find the list right now. It's
Josh, you can't forget about 40-year-old Phillip Rivers.
right on. He was on the farewell tour, and that was a big one. I'm just gonna tell you, it'd be easier to tell you who's not on the list. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Those are really two of the big ones to me that I can think of that say have them beat them.
And also Tom Brady. Let's not forget.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And so, but Josh Allen had a chance. He had a wide open touchdown. All he's got to do is just honestly do what Josh Allen always tries to do, which is just cock back his arm and just let it fly.
Boom.
This is the first time I might have seen a Josh Allen underthrow. It was about
Josh,
5 yards short of where it needed to be, and they were just sitting in the end zone, just saying, "Hey, I'm ready. You give it to me whenever."
Yeah, but Josh, you got to remember, and Josh Allen's best friend on the broadcast, Tony Romo, he made it clear. Josh Allen got bumped there. He got bumped, so it's not really his fault for underthrowing that ball. Right. He got bumped. Look, and as a quarterback, it's not your job to have that pocket presence to know to move around, especially when you're a mobile quarterback like Josh Allen. You have to stay flat-footed in the pocket and you can't move. And it was sad to see the Bills go down that way.
Right, and last on the list, who is getting a lot of heat today, and that's Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass, unfortunately, is going to be taking the blame for most of all the problems that the Bills had. And we feel bad for him because there's a lot of mistakes made across the board. This one's just going to be the one that I think people really focus in on and highlight. And it's the fact that they make that field goal. It's a different game.
I'm a Tyler Bass defender this morning because a field goal shouldn't have been that long. It should not have been that long. And arguably, they should not have been kicking a field goal in the first place. Another person that deserves heat this morning, Josh, Sean McDermott. I mean, who in their right mind does an 8-minute drive or gets the ball with 8 minutes left and does a 6-minute drive to kick a field goal? I mean, there's got to be more urgency than that, right, Josh?
Right. Another person on the hot seat this morning. Oh, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it,
Josh. Don't say it, Josh.
Damar Hamlin. Gotta say it. Okay? What are we doing?
Well, is that Damar's fault?
You're right. I think Damar was put in a bad situation.
In a bad situation.
I would say, if anything, and this is a freezing cold take, and I'm prepared. I understand what I'm about to say. If anything, it's his fault for not retiring, because if he wasn't on the team, maybe they don't feel the confidence to run that play. And they don't run it in the first place, and they just punt, and the Chiefs get it with bad field position.
Spin zone, Josh. I think the Damar Hamlin fake punt was the best thing to happen to the Bills because they were able to force that turnover. They got the ball back quicker.
Oh, so we should be thanking Damar
We should be thanking Damar.
Thank you, Damar.
That was actually maybe the play of the game for the Bills because he helped get the ball back for them.
Oh, right, he does because, for instance, say they punt that ball and, it's like they had to wait way longer to potentially get that ball. Or maybe the defense stops the Chiefs right around the 50-yard line and they get pinned deep. They're on the 10, they're on the 5-yard line now starting their drive. Instead, they started at the 20 because of the touchback, which I have heard already today. Already it's come out that they're thinking about amending that rule.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to amend the rule, Josh. I think it's a lot of, he said, she said, as Lamar Jackson would say. And so I don't think the rule's changing.
Well, but then again, I mean, this game, the Chiefs-Bills game, is the change of rule of the year game. It
is. So we do have to keep that in mind going into the offseason. That's why they put this game on the calendar.
Right. And in the earlier slot today or yesterday, Patrick.
Well, Josh, before we even get to that, I mean, an all-time MVP performance from
Michael
a Kansas City Chief. Yeah, McCole Harmon. I mean, he got the ball twice yesterday.
Right.
Did get the 2 fumbles. Only lost the ball once. So really, that's a 50% chance that it's just a coin flip on whether or not he would lose the ball.
Right.
But Josh, last thing I want to say, Sean McDermott, he did catch a bunch of heat this year.
Right.
But he also he did get the boys
Fired up.
He got
You got them flying in the right direction.
That's what some would say, and he did help get them to the playoffs. And this was a team that people didn't think were going to get to the playoffs in the middle of the season. I just want to say it's a bold strategy for a head coach to make your comparison to your team for a group of people that didn't win in the end.
That's the thing that we have to remember.
Like if we remember, Al-Qaeda didn't win the war.
To my knowledge, they did not.
No. So it was interesting to draw comparisons
that's true.
to your football team. And so some are saying it's Sean McDermott's fault that the Bills didn't win at all.
Right. Who would have been a better organization for him to compare it to say
maybe like the SPCA
or like maybe there's a chance like the Roman Empire, because everyone says Roman Empire didn't fail, it became the Catholic Church.
Right. So if I was Sean McDermott, I go back in time and I compare that. Instead of saying Al-Qaeda, I say Roman Empire.
Right. Okay. We're on the same page there. Hey, maybe next year they'll figure it out. They'll get off over that hump, and maybe they can just maybe get to Super Bowl. Back to the earlier games, Patrick, or game. Baker Mayfield was going out there, and there was a minute where I was looking at the score. It was 16-16, and I said, okay, the Keller theory of the Super Bowl. It wasn't Ravens 49ers. It was Ravens Buccaneers. This whole time, we didn't see it. No one saw it coming. We saw a red team in the NFC, and we said 49ers. And I was like, how ignorant of us to not put our faith in Baker Mayfield, because he's been balling all season. Well, unfortunately, which, by the way, this isn't Baker's fault. Yesterday's loss was not his fault.
Not his fault.
Because he was put in a situation in the first place, because turns out hard to make field goals, or maybe just people who are kicking field goals aren't good at their jobs. Buccaneers missed a field goal, which would have meant that they would have been tied with the Lions after the Lions scored that touchdown. And who knows, maybe the Lions go for 2, they don't get it. What?
What are we? Whoa, did we watch the same football game?
Patrick.
What are we talking about? They lost by 8.
Oh, right. It would have been tied prior to them getting the touchdown.
What game did you watch yesterday?
Okay. I'm having hard. I was at a birthday dinner while I was watching it. I was like,
what are you talking about?
Okay, fine. Okay, that's on me. Right hand up. Patrick, you narrate the game.
What?
No.
I
Patrick,
don't even know. Where do we pick up at?
Patrick, the field goal, they kicked the field goal. They miss it, right?
What field goal did they miss?
The Bucks? Okay, the hold up.
Josh, I'm confused, man.
McLaughlin's 50-yard attempt was no good. The kick hit the left upright and bounced off. Wait, no, that was not the one.
Yeah, are we talking in like the first half? Like, what are we?
Hold up. There was a missed kick, wasn't there?
Oh, Josh, I don't.
Am I wrong, Pat?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Was it a missed extra point?
No, Buccaneers tried to go for 2 and they didn't get it. So I think that's what you're talking about.
Wait a second, Patrick. I'm confused. Okay.
What game? What football game did you watch yesterday?
Wait a second. Okay, that's on me. Right hand up. Okay.
This is another Ryan Shazier injury.
Ah, dang it. So there's no missed kick at the end there.
I don't know.
That would have tied up the game.
They're down by 8. I don't know how you kick an 8-point.
I thought that if they make a field goal, that they put them in a position where it's a 1-score game. In my brain, that's what happened.
Yeah, no, they were down 14 with a couple minutes left, and they score a touchdown. Go for 2, don't get it. And then force a 3-and-out from the Lions. So,
interesting.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild what happens when you watch the game.
Dang, that's bad. That's a bad segment for me. That's an all-time low. But what I do know,
right hand up.
But I just want to say, why'd you let me get so far into it before you stopped me?
I didn't let you get that far into it. You just started talking about like field goal. You literally summed it up as, I think the segment started. So Buccaneers all-time collapse with the field goal yesterday, and I was like, what? I think we maybe only got like 10 or 15 seconds into the segment.
Okay, that's my bad, guys. But they I literally have it in my notes. Take that out. But what I can tell you is they didn't call a timeout when at the end of the game.
And that's what we can verify that. They could have got the ball back potentially with around 30 seconds left, and they didn't call a timeout.
Right. And so they could have called the timeout. And now there's a chance that the Lions could have missed the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
You get the ball back, and you can go try to win the game on a Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a Buccaneers +6 better, I mean, I would have loved to see that happen.
Right. And also, who you got Mike Evans in the end zone for a Hail Mary.
I mean, that's one of the best ones you can have. Like, one of the best players you can have.
In that situation. So I just don't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me what happened there, but we understand that they'll be back. Bucs will be back.
They'll be back. I'm sure they'll figure out that contract situation with Baker Mayfield.
Right.
They proved that you let Baker bake, you get the job done. Now, for the Lions, Josh, it's an interesting situation for them, right?
Karma's building up.
Because they got to go on the road. They're not going to be in front of that home crowd. Josh, I'm kind of leaning towards, I think the 49ers might blow them out.
I think I'm leaning that as well, Patrick.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this. The Lions have been building up way too much bad karma. You booed Matthew Stafford, which, again, I think was the right thing to do, but you have to also pay the consequences of, what comes back, right?
Well, it's an easy thing. It's an easy formula to follow for Lions fans. This is what they should have done. It's, hey, put the pregame video up. No, not even pregame video, just pregame graphic, like 30 minutes before the game. Everyone claps up Matthew Stafford. They go, thank you for your service for being with our terrible franchise for 12 years.
Right.
And then you just boo him the rest of the game because he's now your enemy. And nobody's mad. But instead, they couldn't do that, Josh.
Yeah. And then also, I've been seeing Detroit Lions fans literally attacking their own. I saw pictures yesterday of little kids sitting at the game wearing like their Michigan hat and their Lions jerseys, just getting destroyed by Lions fans. You don't know the suffering. You don't know what it's like. You were born into greatness. You don't appreciate anything. And I'm like, geez, that kid he did nothing but be born.
Yeah, I mean, that's not his fault.
He's getting heat. It's not good luck.
No, it's not. And also, like, the other thing is the Lions have won 2 playoff games. They have not won the Super Bowl. So to say you're born into greatness is pushing it a little premature.
So it's tough luck. But I personally, Patrick, I mean, early preview, we'll talk about it on Friday. I do like the 49ers big here as of right now. But moving on, we got outside of football, a couple of stories. One, Caitlyn Clark. She basically flopped and tried to play victim to getting ran over by a fan. And you look at the video, turns out maybe it wasn't as bad as she was trying to make it seem.
I mean, this is tough. This is a tough look. And this is a situation where you get that alternate camera angle come out, and it really does change the narrative, Josh.
Right.
I mean, Caitlyn Clark, I'll tell you what, there's not many things this country can agree on, but I think a lot of the majority of the country said that girl can play basketball really good.
Right.
And this may put a little damper on that.
Yeah, no, Patrick, the Caitlyn Clark, Iowa story and Women's March Madness last year, which, by the way, this was really the first year that I kind of paid attention to it, and I enjoyed it. And I all of a sudden was like, you know what? Hey, respect to the sport. That's what I said. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound ignorant, but prior to that, I hadn't consumed that much W sports. But all of a sudden, I found myself, hey, this is good. This is entertaining. It's different, but it's entertaining. And I was all in. But this year, I hate to say it, I am out on Caitlyn Clark.
No.
I think she's become a diva. I think she feels like her team's entitled. And maybe I'm only speaking from this specific scenario, but I'm out on Caitlyn Clark, and I hate that because I was all in.
Are you saying she's the first diva in the history of divas to come from the state of Iowa?
I'm not sure. But
I mean, I can't imagine, because I'm told Midwest nice, Josh. That's what I was told.
Right. And by the way, Patrick, in my eyes, I always viewed LSU as the bad guys. Not like they're bad guys, but I always, in my brain, it was like Iowa good guys, LSU bad guys. And now I'm like, I don't know who the good guys are.
I think you're going to be introduced to the University of Connecticut and Paige Beckers, and I think you're going to...
Well, I do love UConn.
Yeah, and I think you're just gonna maybe just keep circling the wagons a little bit, and you'll find the right team.
I think I hate to say it, I think I might be back on UConn. There's nothing like a team that all they did was like win for like 9 years, and then like being like, hey, we're still here.
We're still here, and it's almost like a redemption story then, right? And it's like, well, we're back
because Paige gets hurt,
but she comes back.
Yeah. I think that's where I am right now. Go Huskies. I think that's where I don't know. What's your stance? Where are you with Caitlyn Clark?
Yeah, I mean, I'll worry about it when we get to March.
Okay.
That's what I mean. I'm gonna wait for the story to unfold here, Josh. But I'm just gonna say I'm not a big fan of that alternate camera angle.
You saw the tape. I think you've seen the whole story that you've seen.
I saw the tape, but what if Caitlyn comes out on Monday and it's like, hey, I really apologize. I should have tried to avoid the court stormer. And then people were like, Caitlyn, like, it's really not your fault. You shouldn't be put in that position.
Right.
And
but
then, boom.
But what I'm going to say to that is, now she's not really a person of conviction. She doesn't stand up. If you believe something, stand up for it. You're going to back down just because the haters are getting to you? No. That makes it somehow worse. She's in a lose-lose situation for me, so.
What if she comes out and doubles down on it?
Then actually we might be like heading back in the right direction.
Like if
it would be better.
What if she came out and was like, "Hey, that fan flipped me the bird," and so I had to let her know.
Then I'm like, okay, wait a second. Now then I wish that because then she's kind of changing the narrative. I wish that she was like, because she said she was being run over. She was playing victim, and I don't like playing victim.
Well, maybe ultimately, Josh, it's loser talk. I mean, they lost. So you got to be better than that.
When you lose, you should say only these things. You should say,
got to be better.
Should have played better. Team got to play better. We're going to work hard. We're going to get back to the drawing board, and we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. What not to say when you lose. That play should have counted because it was really cool. The refs took the game from us.
Right.
It's generally where you want to stay away from.
Right. And maybe like fan ran me over.
Yeah.
Cool. Josh, Pat updates. Patrick, what do you got going on this week? Anything exciting, fun?
Yeah, I mean it's the heart of winter, Josh, and it's a tough one.
Right.
Big week down here though, because we're warming back up, Josh. I mean, we're gonna be touching 70 degrees down here in Athens, Georgia, and that lets you know
that's
spring's
big.
right around the corner. Spring's right around the corner.
Yeah, for me, not too much. I got a big responsibility at 2 p.m. Got to get these extra playoff tickets potentially, if that's possible.
Yeah, Josh, if you don't get them,
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
If you don't, I just have a feeling this is gonna be a Ross Chastain situation.
No.
And you almost are like Caitlyn Clark in this scenario, where you blamed Ross Chastain, but neglect to tell the part where you showed up 30 minutes late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna be fine.
So what I'm
things
saying
figured
is, I don't want to hear it's like computer crashed. It's like, no, you get
out. No, I'm gonna have multiple laptops up.
And that's what I would expect to happen. But I don't want it to be a situation where it's like, we got the call, I didn't get back till 2:04.
No, well, I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna have.
But what if somebody
correct.
really needs your help? What if somebody really needs your help, Josh?
No, I'm locked in. I'm locked in because I got an emergency passive for everything because this is a Dave Klein ordered event. Then
yeah, but what if it's like a fire at the Royal Farms, Josh, and it's all hands on deck, and it's a 1:35 call? What are you supposed to do?
Talk about that. Don't put that in the air, Patrick.
What are you supposed to do?
I mean, that's in that scenario. I take the laptop, I take the tablet with me, the mobile. I leave the desktop
on the back of the fire truck.
I know I think. Okay, if the call happens at like 1:55, we just say screw it. We're not making the first truck, and we just go do this. If it happens at like 2, in this scenario, I've already done what I had to do.
I don't think it's as simple as a click at 2:00 and we're done at 2:01.
Right, so that's why I think we're gonna be all right, and I think we're gonna be fine there. But this week is a big prep week for me, Patrick, because it's like, we're talking about the Ravens going to practice this week, getting prepped for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Like I know, I've been for my whole life, literally for my whole life, I've been training, I've been going to games, I've been waiting for this moment. My whole since I was old enough to walk. Mm-hmm. And so this is like a big deal for me. I want to make sure that I don't blow it. I'm going to make sure that the weather, like I'm packing appropriate, I got the right gear, so that way, because if you're too cold, if you're too hot, or you're too wet, you might not be able to cheer in the way that you're supposed to. So we're gonna get that together. We're gonna figure it out. And then big movies on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to go well.
So we'll be good. Anyway, you have a nice day, Patrick. I'll see you guys on Friday for another show. Make sure you guys go to picksandpickets.com, read everything happening in sports, and we'll see you around. A peace.